the presentation in the chat box, and we will address it then or after the meeting. With that being said, Salam, go ahead and feel free to take this away.
Thanks, David. So what we're going to do is we're going to go through this very easy to understand value proposition. There's some key buzzwords that we do use, but we have such an ability to back that up. The software that we'll show you today is incredible. So we're going to be literally changing the game for you and your Sage 100 ERP, as well as the other data sources that you may have. So with that said, let's go and start the introduction of what we are and what we do. First and foremost, the challenges that Sage have required when it came to reporting was the ability to reduce the time and cost to create quick reports, even cumbersome reports. The desire to get customers onto the cloud, ensure that there are real insights to your reports, and overall making sure that you've got a better understanding of your business via dashboards, reports, and also those key KPIs within your Sage 100 system. Now, with that said, what you see in front of you is our value proposition on the right-hand side. First and foremost, we're providing world-class analytics covering all different areas, from financials to AR, sales, AP, procurement, and so on and so forth, producing well over 100 types of different pre-built analytics, from dashboards, reports, and just pre-built calculations that in some cases you may have not even reached to yet. And we've got all of those out of the box. We want to make sure that you are managing your data within your Sage system effectively. And enough is the time where you have great people doing difficult manual processes to achieve reports. But now is the time to have great people, to have great software, to get great insight. And that is a big claim I'm making. So let's go through that journey. First and foremost, when you take that journey with us on your Sage 100 application, you're going to get an automated data experience. The quick answer to that is we connect to your 100, you get a model, and as an output, you get a model that you can report from and pre-built in analytics that are based on roles and your modules, so you can start reporting from, as you can see there on the right-hand side. That is the output. Now, with that said, all of those robust calculations I talked about are along the bottom that gives you a quick snippet of those module type of calculations that are sometimes so long and just ineffective in the way that you reach those calculations. We're making the claim that we can get you up in there literally in no time at all. And with that said, when it comes to time, we're making the big claim for Sage 100 that when we connect to your Sage 100, we can get you up and ready in hours, not days, weeks, months. We're saying hours. And the ability to update that information on an automatic basis, whether it's on an hourly, weekly, daily, monthly basis, that's dependent on you. You shouldn't be dependent on the software to be able to achieve that. That should be a business decision, and the software should be able to support that decision. So the ability to be flexible is key from our side. Now, the ability to then flawlessly take your current reporting and replicate it on SDNA, Sage Data and Analytics, is key. So when you're able to look at those mundane reports that takes you days or hours to build, they're all going to be automated on the SDNA application. And that's what's key here. So some big claims that I've made here. And what we're going to do is essentially, let's go into the product demonstration. Now, Rich is not with us today, it will be me. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to jump straight in there and show you the journey from start to finish. Once you purchase this solution, this is the journey of you being stood up on the application, then those pre-built analytics, what was those output? What does that look like? I'll give you some definitive answers around that. And let's start building some content. So you've done that stand up. What does that content look like in terms of building financial reports? And then maybe even doing an automated report pack, which are common requests that customers want to achieve in the future, not over in months or weeks. And what we're saying is that all of that is within your grasp. So some big claims there. Let's go and have a look at the application and see what we can do. So on the top here, you can see it's a URL. So it's a SaaS-based application, cloud-based. And what we're going to do is going to build a model, then go into the world of what that looks like as an output. So those pre-built analytics. So let's start that journey first. So you've purchased the product, you've got access to the application, and now you're going to build that model. This is our automation bar for any of the technical folk on the call. And then I have the ability to select my particular Sage 100 image and deploy that. So you can see here within Sage 100, we have the ability to connect and build a procurement module, an inventory module, all the way to production. That is dependent on you. Now, a lot of customers ask me this question around finance. Finance is broken in 3 areas: AR, AP, and financials. So when we hit deploy, we just need to go to that next step, put our credentials, and let the application start the build automatically. That's it. That's all that requires. Now, in your business, you may have a requirement to make some configurations regarding calendars. So maybe you have a particular weekly pattern, 454, 445 weekly pattern that can be absolute headaches building reports. We automatically take care of that. And as an output to that, as an output to this automation process, you get these folders. So if we look at Sage 100, all those folders hold dashboards like this one and reports that come all out of the box. So with that said, let's have a look at some of those. And I'll start off with the CFO dashboard. I'm going to get the link. I'm going to open it up into consumer mode, and let's have a look at what the output after those few hours of delivery you'll get. And this is what you get out of the box. So this first dashboard allows me to break it down by company, by date. These are what we call slices. You can look at it the last complete month, maybe a particular month in question. That's really up to the user that wants to be able to chop and change. Now with that, you've got company, but if you want to add more slices, you can do so. This is just giving you, the customer, a head start in your analytical journey. But let's look at the theme and the way these dashboards look. You have your performance cards across the top, and you can see when I hover over these performance cards, look at the description it gives me. How cool is that? But if you disagree with those, you can just go in and change it within the application. And it goes from P&L, cash, all the way to our balance sheet items, from working capital to debt ratio. Now, below now are all the analytics describing those performance cards. So in this case, we'll look at P&L only. And you see we've got gross margin over time and operating profit over time. So in this case, I'm going to go to look at this particular month and look what I've got. I have the ability to drill down, maybe into the week, or drill up, or open other reports. So let's go to the income statement dashboard and let's have a look. So this is a pre-built income statement, but in your case, it's not going to be the same as yours. All of that is part of the automation and stand-up experience during our implementations. So the work behind the scenes for this is literally doing a quick exercise for your account mapping and then relaying out what your report in terms of your P&L and balance sheet looks like. But you can see we're using some relative time features, month to date, year to date. But on the right-hand side, we have some other analytics, looking at gross margin, operating profit, actuals versus budget, maybe looking at operating profit over time. That is dependent on you. We're just giving you the head start here. But this is just a report. How can I go further? Maybe I want to look at this particular 60,000. I'm going to double click onto that 60,000 and be able to get a transaction report, whether it's to the account code level or the actual GL level. That's up to you as the customer. But the ability to export is also something key within our customers. So we've put that feature in there for you to use. Now, if I go back out, all the way back to where we were with the CFO dashboard, what else have we got? We've got pre-built reports and dashboards around accounts payable and receivable. So let's have a look at those. I'm going to right click and open up this AR dashboard. Now with this, we've got our performance cards, similar to the theme that we saw with all the descriptions that I was talking about before. But then we've got that broken down by overdue receivables and their top 10, current receivables and its top 10, and what that looks like over time. On the right-hand side, though, is where customers would love to be, being able to really analyze their DSO, their collection effectiveness, Again, all of this is all pre-built and ready to go for your Sage 100 instance. But not just at this level. Maybe I want to look at the aging of this bucket and look at what I've got there. How cool is that? So I have the ability to look at all these agings by customer. I can even double click and get a transaction report of what that looks like. This is the experience that you should be getting in terms of this new era of BI. You can't be stuck in that old way where it's all about manual reports being built on Excel or Crystal reports. We're there to give you that guided journey, not just at that high dashboard level with some of those visualizations out there on the market, but it's giving you that complete experience from the high CFO level all the way to that GL transaction. Now, with that said, let's go to the other area, AP. So with that, you've got a similar theme going to these open cards in terms of telling me what's open AP, what's overdue, and so on and so forth. What my overdue payables look like and the top items around that. And then my current payables and the top vendors around that, with the ability of looking at that over time, and maybe even a league table that I can customize however I like. Maybe I want to look at that by ranking. But the ability to go into the next level is also available on this side. So now we're going into that aging report. But what's also important here is I can see when that data was last built. All of this, again, as the pre-built experience. So if I come back out once more, you can see we've covered a wide spectrum of information regarding the CFO, the financials, AR, and AP. Now, with that said, what we're going to do is just look at some other dashboards. So quickly go out into my folder, and you can see all the folders here. We're going to go into inventory. Now, an inventory manager dashboard, you can see here, we've got all these different items that we can break information down. Then we've got those key different metrics that tells me days of inventory, what the opening balance of my inventory is, back order rates, order fill rates, what my order turn looks like between this month and last, what the order valuations are. And then a breakdown by issue, receipt, on-hand valuation items, and then what that looks like over time. So much information going on in there, and all of it's pre-built because we understand that Sage 100 system. We understand those key modules really well. So we know what kind of information we need to pull out of that. But in your case, you may want to customize that. That's also part of this experience. But the first thing is this, let's give you that head start with the ability to look at maybe particular storage locations or item groups. Maybe you just want to look at finished product and be able to get an analysis on that. All of that's available to you with the ability to go even further. Maybe you want to look at the valuation items a little bit more. And you can see these are all my finished items, all my units, and what they look like on hand, average cost, inventory. And there's so much more within our inventory, whether it's aging, slowly moving aging items. All of those are pre-built and ready to go. Let's go to one more particular area, and let's not choose a common one. Let's choose something that is around another important element for Sage 100 customers, which is around manufacturing. So let's go to the production manager dashboard, and you can see from here, we've got all my different slices that I can change. From there, we've got current order statuses, what the order fulfillment looks like, efficiencies and production costs. But then below is a breakup of all of that information into analytics. So you can see here, produced versus remaining. What are the early orders, late orders? Maybe you want to look at fulfillment over time. All of this with that pre-built experience gives you an idea of what you're missing in regards to your data in Sage 100 and what you're actually utilizing really well. So it's not just giving you that experience on visualizations and reporting, but it also highlights the gaps that you may have as a business where you want to be. And it's giving you definitive data management views of where your gaps are in regards to the data you're using within your business. Now, with that said, let's go to the next portion of building reports. So I've got a request. Let's say with my Sage instance, the CFO has come to me and said, I don't like the income statement dashboard. We want to change that around. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back into that application where we were building the model, starting from a blank canvas, and let's start actually not building a report from scratch, but amending a report that we want to look at. So let's go into our reports. Let's go into finance, general ledger, statements, and let's open up my profit and loss statement, which was month to date and year to date. The CFO has now come to me and said, I want to look at this 12 months over time. Now look at the time, 8:16. So let's see how quick I can get that particular information without going super fast. First and foremost, I'm going to go into my settings here. Time features are always a big headache when it comes to reporting. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to remove all of those. I don't need those in the report anymore. I'm going to remove budget because it's not been asked for. The CFO just wants to look at the actual amount. But then the CFO's asked, I want to look at this 6 months over time, 12 months over time. I'm going to be even more advanced today. I'm not going to only say 12 months because you never know. He or she may come back to me and say, no, I want now 24 months or maybe 2 months. So let's give them the option to do a variety of things. I'm going to go to the current period and look at all these time features that I can use. So in this case, I'm going to go to months to current. And now SD&A is asking me which hierarchy do I want to use. So I'm going to go to my date feature and look at all this translated, easy to understand, no kind of technical language in terms of these tables that are coming from your Sage 100 instance. If I open up the date though, I've got 3 calendars. The calendar experience that we talked about a bit earlier. In this case, we want to use the fiscal calendar. From there, I can type in 12 to give me 12 months. And then hit apply. Now look what happens on the left-hand side. I now have my 12 months, but this is not good enough. I want to be able to be really dynamic here. So I'm going to remove 12 and look what I'm going to do instead. I'm going to put parameterization, nothing too fancy. I'm going to go to number input and I'm going to allow the experience of the CFO using a slider to say, well, the minimum amount of months that my CFO can look at is 3. The maximum, say, is 36. And the current value is what that CFO asked for, which is 12. And look what happens to the report. I hit apply, and look, I've got a slicer now. How cool is this? I can change that now to go however many more months, however many less months, or go back to what he originally asked for. But then maybe the CFO's asked that I don't like the way this looks. I need it from new to old. I'm going to simply right-click, set, and then reverse. And there we are. All of this skill that I've acquired is all from our self-paced or instructor-led learning. Very easy to learn and quick, and you can get quick and up and ready in no time, doing really advanced reports that you presumed was advanced, but in reality on this platform is very easy to build. So with this said, I'm going to save this. And I'm going to save it on my personal folder. So let's go down to my personal folder and click OK. But now the requirement from the CFO is to build another report for the report pack that we discussed earlier. So I'm going to press the X button there just to remove this and start a new report from a blank canvas. So in this case, we're going to look at a financial report around accounts payable, but there's so much going on. Even though it's plain English, there's so much going on here. So let's make it easy to understand. Let's just select all the tables from finance. So we've got the 3 areas there and the ways that we can break it down. So let's look at accounts receivable. We have calculations that we've calculated that we talked about, and look at the descriptions for each. And then you have calculations or measures that are coming directly from your ERP. But in this case, we're going to keep it simple. We're going to look at the AR balance. From here, I need to break this AR balance down by my customer groups. So look at the report on the left-hand side here, you can see it's by that. Maybe we'll do it by rows instead. And then from here, we want to put it into buckets. So I'm going to go to aging, and I can do it by 30 buckets, but this is not cool. I want to make this really cool and dynamic. So I'm going to right-click remove, and I'll go into what we call our hierarchies. So from here, I'm going to drag and drop direction into columns. And look, from this, I'll remove unknown just for the demonstration. And then from here, look, I've got the ability to now look at late, what's not late. I can close that up. I can do it however I wish, but it's all dynamic. So I'm going to leave it like that. So in this case, I've got all of that view, but the report doesn't look really nice aesthetically. So let's go and make some changes. So from here, I'm going to select all of that, which you just saw me do, and I'm going to get rid of all these solid lines. From here, I can then say, well, I want this to look like whatever. You can see all these different things that I can change, whether it's coloring or whatever I want. But in this case, I've just removed all of that. And what we're going to do is see what this looks like. And this is a big thing for a lot of customers on the print, especially if you're making report packs that get sent out to hundreds or maybe hundreds of people to as small as, say, 10 executives. So let's go to home and let's see on the print design what this looks like. Okay, well, it says it's got 2 pages. That's certainly what we don't want. We want this in landscape. Then we won't worry about the margins. We'll put this all scalable into 1 page, and that's my report ready. Pretty simple. And look at the time. Doing that P&L and building this aging report, I literally did that in 6 minutes. And I made sure that we did it slowly so we couldn't use the excuse of my experience to be in the way. Now, with that said, I'm going to save this, Control S, and from here, I'm going to save it onto my report. So my AR report, I'm done. So I've built a report. I've showed you pre-built analytics, and then I showed you the ability of creating and changing other analytics that are pre-built and creating reports from scratch. But where's the automation in this? Where is the report pack design that we talked about? So I'm going to start from the blank canvas, and the last piece of this particular demonstration is around that. So let's go through that. First and foremost, I'm going to start building the report pack. So I'm going to open that up. And then from here, I'm going to say, well, this is my front page. And then from here, I've got my other reports, so my CFO dashboard, and then maybe my profit and loss and AR dashboard in there. So that's my report. What's really cool here is I have an ability of using all of these and breaking them up by multiple companies, maybe multiple customers, whatever I want to repeat this again and again for each customer. And I can get really smart with that. But in this case, I'm going to save that report pack. I'm going to call it my report pack. Control S and then close. Then from here, I'm going to close this down, and then I'm going to put everything together. I want to create the automation. So the automation is what we call an event. So I'm going to go down and select more, and then go to a scheduled event. I'm going to decide that we want to send this event once every month, the first Monday of every month. I'm going to Control S. And then from here, I'll call this my scheduled automation. So scheduled in short, and then we'll call it automation. So I'm truly trying to show you those big value propositions are all within your reach, all drag and drop, point and click. There is no coding required to achieve all of this. But now is the finished product. Let's put it all together. So from here, if we go into my particular publication rule, which is ultimately all about making sure that I can essentially put all of that together. I'm going to put my email in there. And then from here, we'll put a subject line. I'll select myself there, and we'll call it the report pack. And then from here, I need to put all of those report packs that I've designed. So just there, drag and drop. And I could put any dynamic message to this report. So welcome to your report pack. I can put dynamic messages. All of those features are available there. And then the automation piece is essentially me dragging and dropping the scheduled automation once every month. Let's have a look at what that looks like and pay particular attention to my Outlook. So I'm going to hit publish, and now it's gone for distribution. So some key things there. We're going to get you up and ready in hours for your Sage 100 instance. So you have all of those pre-built reports that you showed. And then from there, the experience of you then going onto that model and building your own reports is ready instantly. There is no nonsense to this approach. We want to get you successful, ready, and game-changing all of your kind of work in regards to analytics, reporting, removing all of those manual processes, making that reporting experience automated for your business so you can concentrate on the insights rather than building to those insights. Now, with that said, as you can see on my particular Outlook, I've got some things that have come through. So I've double clicked onto my distribution as an admin. It's told me that it's been sent to my distribution. And then from here, let's have a look what that report pack looks like. So that's the report pack with my welcome message. I'm going to double click onto that. And from here, I've got my executive summary with all my net sales, my CFO dashboard, the report that we built, and much more. All of that was all done point and click. We can get you ready in no time. And that is essentially the key aspect of this value proposition in terms of your initial experience. We haven't even gone through the future of what could be in terms of adding multiple data sources and unifying them. So in your business, you don't have to worry about whether this is from one system or the other. This is your business's model, whether it's sales, orders, invoices, to AR, AP, procurement, all of it in one place and ready to use. Now, with that said, let's go back to the slide deck and just sum up some of the things that we discussed today. First and foremost, we talked about us being a cloud application. Now, taking a cloud journey is not easy for a lot of customers, but the benefits considerably outweigh the disadvantages. In terms of the complexity of maintaining the application, server costs, the ability to make sure security is always compliant is a massive headache and a real increase in terms of resourcing. We take care of all of that for you. Whether your business is on-premise and you have data sources in the cloud, it does not matter. We can still pull it all through the cloud into our application. We want to show you that journey to the application of the journey to cloud is simple, easy, and compliant and secure. That is the journey that we, as in SD&A, will take you on. Now, with that, the ability of looking at different packages for Sage 100 is really important. And these are the packages for different types of customers. You may be very, very elementary in terms of your standard reports. Maybe you're using just Sage Intelligence in terms of the embedded reporting feature within 100. The standard package is certainly something to look at to get you up and ready, get those pre-built analytics, focus particularly in the key modules, GL, AR, and AP. But if you want to get more kind of creative in the ability, maybe in your case, you may have more customized fields or modules that you want to pull through. Advanced is certainly a quick start to get you there. But if you're a customer that has multiple companies, maybe multiple data sources that require the ability of adding all these data sources in together, and you're going in large data sets, then certainly premium is what we would advise a good package would be for you. Now, with that said, you should certainly reach out and make sure that you are given the right spot in terms of package, rather than presuming what you think may be the right move. We want to take you on a journey. In terms of the work that we do with E2B and us, we want to make sure that you are successful with this journey, not just about getting the software. It's about referenceability. It's about future-proofing BI, data and analytics within your business. So with these packages, these surely are a quick start to that journey for you. Now, with that said, what's going on behind the scenes? What do we do in terms of support? Your partner will certainly provide you that first level support. And then Sage and us, Zap, who essentially is a white label product called SD&A, representing Sage, will be that third level support in regards to any product issues that may occur. We want to make sure that that experience is clear and you've got that one point of contact with your trusted partner. So from there, in terms of that first level of support, all of those requests will be with your partner. And with those packages that we talked about, the packages are all to make sure that you are comfortable with what the journey that we're taking you on. Maybe you haven't got that maturity of different types of reports, maybe 50, 60 reports that are all customized. Maybe your requirements are a lot more simpler. Speak to us. Learn about what we could potentially give you to give you an idea of what that solution could be for your business. But our target in terms of our key kind of output of what we're trying to do for you as a customer is make you successful. So with that said, what I'll do is, David, I think we've got some Q&As. So in terms of answering those, David, are you happy for me to answer those?
Yeah, so we have 2 questions in the chat. I'm not sure if you're able to see those, Salam, or do you want me to read those out for you?
Yeah, so the first question we can see is it cloud or on-premise? If cloud, what is the security? So there's different elements of security. So if you can give me a little bit more basis on what you're looking for, I'm going to give you a kind of comprehensive answer, but hopefully that should answer your question. In regards to security, we have different levels. In terms of us being a SaaS application, it's obviously in the cloud. But in regards to where your data is kept, in regards to security, the idea is that we keep it within the localized data center of where your business is located, whether it's in the US, Canada, etc., etc. The platform that we use to keep your data secure is Microsoft Azure, and that's essentially what our co-sell partner is and our infrastructure is based on. But there are other elements like compliance that we certainly take care of in regards to the access and the terms and conditions of using the application that are also key elements of security that we have and we can certainly share with you. But then within the application itself, we also have the ability to provide role-based and row-level based access to the data model that is controlled by you. You can decide whatever person within whatever part of your business has access to that underlying data. So hopefully that answers that question for you. The next question is, can more than one ODBC connection to be used to combine multiple data sources into one report? So I'm going to actually challenge that question because it's much more than what you're thinking in regards to connecting to one report. When we're looking at a model, we've got scenarios where customers are using over 50 to 60 different data sources into one unified model, with the ability of not just using one key report, but all the reports that are connected. So going forward, what really we should be focused on is how can I pull all those data sources into one unified model so I can not only connect to one key report, but other reports, whether external reports for external stakeholders like suppliers to internal stakeholders. It's not about making a report held us to ransom in regards to how many data sources we need to connect for it. It's really the reverse way. That's the best practice of building out a comprehensive BI data analytics solution for your business. The next question is, what did Zap partnership start with Sage, or when did Zap's partnership start with Sage? How many Sage 100 users are currently subscribed? Good question. So we've been working with Sage for many years, and we have a unique relationship with Sage. We're essentially a white label. And from there, just to add to the answer around what are we doing with Sage, Sage have made it very clear in terms of the challenges that we want to address for the 100 market, is that there is a clear direction of what Sage's data and analytics journey is. One platform at multiple levels to make sure different entry points for different customers are easy to take on and be able to build. Now, in terms of the amount of customers, this is certainly a new initiative. So the customers aren't going to be high volume, but we are acquiring customers as we speak because of the solution being able to be up and ready. But that doesn't mean that there is no kind of concerns in regards of kind of diminishing quality in terms of delivery. We have always got an expectation and a success criteria to make sure you as a customer have got the experience that we've exactly said in all the engagements that we have with you as a customer. So I hope that answers that question. So in terms of my presentation, that is what I wanted to showcase today. And thank you for those questions. What we'll do, David, if it sounds good for you, maybe we just leave it for a minute or so for more questions.
Yeah, sounds great. And obviously, if anyone in the chat has any questions after this, feel free to just reach out to me directly.
Cool. So what we'll do as an action point to this, please reach out to us. Please reach out to your partner account manager. We are raring to go. And we're really looking forward to taking you all on that experience that we talked about in this session. So if there's any other questions, feel free to reach out to us by email. We'll be more than happy to answer those. But from me, I really appreciate your time today, and really looking forward to hopefully working with you through the near future.
Yeah, thanks everyone for taking the time this afternoon to join us. And as I mentioned, we will be sending out a recording of this afterwards. So feel free to share it with your team.